In my last video I talked about a somewhat well-known character. Some people didn't love that, so they decided to stop following my channel. Oh no! The video did, however, generate some funny comments. For example, Rock Me Helsing really didn't like Vampire Lords, saying, "Every time I see this orange ape dictator, I'm disgusted as hell. What a shit human being." Or this gem by Kent Rutherford 7048. Making painting white great again. And orange. The best orange. Leonatus 221. Stop giving this tyrant a platform. Sorry. I also love this one from Roy Boley.
A few moments later.
Roy Boley 5510. You messed it up. You actually made something better. If you were truly Donny Boy, you would have tossed the plastic model in a bucket of gasoline, then blamed Hunter Biden when it melted. Yeah, you are probably right. Sorry. Dr. Tristram 5197 made me reflect with his whining about the most successful man on the planet reeks of cope. Thinking about it, I have decided that I'm not whining about Trump. I'm simply making the best of a frankly scary situation where people forget what a privilege it is to live in a democracy. And how we do not make any effort to learn anything or care to make an informed decision when we cast our votes. It's the same here in Europe. Europe and A. In the Europe and A. Also the most successful world in the man. Also the most successful man on the planet. And my personal hero would probably have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. But my favorite comment is, "Schizophrenia is a hell of a drug." From Grey Sectoid. This is a Grey Sectoid. Charming. It really is. And the best thing about it is that it's free. But Alex, mental illness is a serious matter and you should not joke about it. No. That is exactly why you should joke about it. People really need to learn how to talk about serious topics instead of just pretending they don't exist. So let's talk about mental illness. All for your entertainment. Or something. I'm Alex and you are watching Winter Wolf Miniatures. For some reason. So, how do you make a video about mental illness and painting miniatures? There is a couple of ways one could go, actually. But I went with the Lobotomy way. Or, to be more specific, Lobotomy 2. It's a fantastic game from Titan Forge in Poland. It's called Poland in Swedish. Poland. For you Americans, Poland is a big country in Europe. And next to Germany, here. The game is a dungeon crawler co-op role-playing game. That is not said in a huff and a puff. The game is a dungeon crawler co-op role-playing game set in an asylum. You and your probably imaginary friends play as patients trying to escape, using your skills, teamwork, and of course imagination. Coming from Titan Forge, you could guess it has some great-looking miniatures, and you would be absolutely right. I have previously painted these two here on my channel, Sir Ian Macfellow and Mr. Johnny Wroblewski. I've also painted these three. Can you guess who they are? Today I will add to my collection of painted playable characters for my Lobotomy 2 game by painting 4 more. Let me hear your guesses in the comments to who they might be. I'm sure you will recognize most of them. I've primed them all white, and the first thing I'll do after that is to wash all the skin with a lovely color, but with a nasty name. Flesh wash. Flesh wash over white is an extremely easy way to get okay looking skin very quickly. Perfect for game pieces like these. This guy will get something else added later because he will have a bit darker complexion. The same can be achieved by similar colored washes or speed paints, or with just regular paint thinned down with water. This guy really got some stylish glasses going on there. This guy instead has a very stylish hat and suitcase. I wonder what he has in it. Probably his socks. If you have a feet fetish, this part of the video I've made special for you. You're welcome. They are all barefoot for some reason. I wouldn't recommend fighting monsters barefoot. You should grab some footgear, preferably cowboy boots. They're always stylish. These are mine. Stylish. Next up is turquoise for that hospital scrub look. This dude will get scrub pants and a shirt. Can you guess who he is? His name is Matt Riggs, and he's wondering if you would like the red pill or the blue pill. This guy also gets turquoise for his shirt and pants. They are of course patients, not hospital workers, but I imagine they've stolen the scrubs or something. And nothing quite screams hospital or healthcare like turquoise scrubs, right? The third guy gets it only for his pants, as the shirt looks too much like a dress shirt. His name is Wicked Jimmy, and he has aggression disorder and OCD disorder. In a classic fantasy RPG, you would have classes like warrior, rogue, sorcerer, wizard and whatnot, but in this game you instead have different disorders. I'll give the dress shirt looking shirt a thin watered down dousing of the turquoise to tint it slightly towards turquoise and act as a shadow. I'm doing the same with this lovely lady's dress. I have no idea what funny things I will do with this character, but I'm sure I'll think of something. Do you recognize her? She does look familiar. I think I've seen her on some posters in my daughter's room, maybe. Perhaps. She has abilities called Frostbite, Let It Go, and Ice Giant. And she has schizophrenia and OCD disorder. Schizophrenia is of course one of the more powerful disorders in this game, because they are adept at bending the rules of the universe to their favor. It's a suitable way of describing it, I think.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Back to this guy. Comedy is a key here, and looking at his jacket and trying to figure out what kind of jacket it could be and what would be most fun, I ended up deciding that a yellow raincoat would be the best option. Those are of course very, very stylish. Classic. And while I have the yellow here, let's add some to this one's hair, because yellow hair is a thing. Look it up. This guy with the suitcase and a hat gets some base coat with a regular brown on his suitcase and hat. A couple of layers are required to properly cover the white primer. Have you figured out who he is yet? His name is Brian, and he says he's the danger. I'll also add some brown here as a base coat for the gun. I'm not going into details with the gun, I'm simply gonna paint it brown and then maybe do some metallic dry brushing on it later. And the puppy he's holding. Or is that a stuffed animal maybe, perhaps? I know from what movie this character is from, but I haven't seen that movie. I have, however, seen the movie this guy's from. The same brown will also be a base coat on this pipe. Time to add some lighter shades of yellow on the raincoat. Before I started with this, I of course did another layer of the previous yellow to get full opacity. Yellow can be a little bit tricky. On a white surface, it's usually alright after 2 or a few layers. The trick is otherwise to base coat the area that should be yellow in something else first, something lighter. Maybe a light brown or a yellowish beige. You could even do a pink undercoat if you want a more artsy finish, as the pink is a nice contrast and therefore acts as a really cool shader. There will be no fancy artsy things for these guys, so a couple of layers of yellow on white will suffice. I've chosen a somewhat dark yellow, so it will be fine, probably, mostly. A wash with sepia for the scrubs and raincoat will shade them nicely and dirty them up a bit. Personal hygiene is not on the top of these guys' priorities right now. When that's dry, I go back to the yellow and redo the highlights. And also tidying up a bit. The atmosphere in the game is kind of dark and moody and dirty and filthy and disgusting, so we need the characters to reflect that. Perfect, because it means you don't have to be very neat with painting, and you can use lots of blood, dirt, and other stuff. I'm then doing the same with the turquoise. Here I have also added some white to the turquoise for a slightly lighter shade. This guy have got a black wash on his robe thingy, and also a dark brown wash on his skin, but it, as you can see, it still looks terrible, so I will have to do something about that later. I'm doing the same on the scrubs for the guy with the pipe and the dude with the puppy, except he didn't get a wash. I wanted his pants to be a bit cleaner. I don't really know why, but I got the impression when looking at this guy that he's got his shit just a little bit more together than the other dudes and ladies. So I'm gonna keep him a bit cleaner. Black Templar contrast paint is the only contrast paint or speed paint I own and have ever tried. I like it for some things, like for example easy hair like this. Watered down, it's also a nice wash or pin wash. And we can't of course forget his magnificent beard and luscious mustache. What contrast paint do you use or recommend? And for what are you using it for? Do you use it as intended, or do you, like me, use it for something completely different? This guy got a black wash, not with Dark Templar, just a flat black one, on his coat, and now it's time to bring that back up a bit with white. This is not pure white, by the way, as it got some turquoise and grey in it. Hopefully this will look like a doctor's lab coat in the end. This guy gets some white as well, but this white is cleaner, with just some turquoise tones in it. The same goes for the light blue dress. I've now decided what I want to do with the dress, by the way. I want to make it look see-through. I believe that's a fun twist and a great contrast to the princess-like girl this is. I've never done that though, so I'm not sure I'll pull it off, but I will try. The hat gets some easy highlights with a lighter shade of brown, as well as the suitcase. And oopsie-doosey, you saw nothing. An array of lines crisscrossing around the suitcase might give the impression of a very worn, leathery suitcase. Hopefully. If you do enough, it will look good, and if you do too much, it will ruin it. So, good luck. A bit of tin color for the pipe. I have said this before, I guess, but Tinny Tin from Vallejo is one of the best paints there is. And you can of course disagree, but you're wrong. And here is a sneak preview of the dress. This is Vomit from Vallejo. It's absolutely fantastic and absolutely gross, but it looks good. It dries glossy and with a very distinct green yellowish color. Everyone gets their share of this gloopy, disgusting goo because it's very fitting, I think. Next up is blood for the blood god. And I thought it would be fun if there's blood dripping from the suitcase, because he has more than his socks in there probably. For the princess girl thingy, I add as much blood as I dare without ruining it, because that deep red is a fantastic contrast to the otherwise pale mini, and blood and gore is by itself a huge contrast to the fancy princess with its white dress. I think I pulled the see-through part off quite nicely for being my first ever attempt. it took a long time with much back and forth without me knowing what the hell I was doing. So that's why I didn't film it. And that's about it. They are fine as they are. I have to keep reminding myself that they are simply play pieces in a board game, and that any paint is better than no paint. In the next video I might actually do something interesting, so make sure you are subscribed. That's it for this time, have a good one, and I'll see you soon. Hopefully.